Hello everyone, welcome to yet another video from Culture Katha. As I had promised last week, this video too is going to be about Andal. In my last video, we had seen the story of Kodai, how she became Andal and what set Andal apart from the rest. As I had mentioned in that video, that's one way of understanding Andal. But another way to understand her is through her poetry. So in this video, we'll try and understand more of Andal through her poetry and explore the reasons for the eroticism that we find in her poems. As you already know, Andal is credited with two works, Thiruppavai and Nachiyar Tirumozhi. These works are dated to around 6th to 8th century AD, which is roughly 1200 to 1400 years back. Now, Thiruppavai is a compilation of 30 hymns where Kodai or Andal describes a ritual where young unmarried girls who are sleeping are woken up in the early hours of the morning to embark on a sacred quest, to have a darshan of Krishna in Ayarpadi, which is the Tamil equivalent of Gokul. Through her verses, Andal urges the girls to wake up very early before sunrise, have an early morning bath, keep fast and go meet Krishna at his house in order to seek material prosperity and eventually mukti or eternal salvation for everyone. According to Tamil scholars, in Thiruppavai, Andal revives an old custom of the ancient Tamils called Pavai Nonbu. The references to this Sangam age custom are found in a Tamil text called Paripadal. While the text describes a similar ritual observed by young girls, the reason given for the ritual is different. Those Sangam age girls did not seek salvation but a good husband for themselves. So Andal's poetry is seen as a continuation of Sangam literary style, and scholars believe that her compositions were heavily influenced by Sangam era literature. Sangam poetry is broadly categorized into Aham and Puram poetry. To put it very simply, the corpus of Puram poetry is centered around the war exploits of the ancient Tamils, while Aham poetry focuses on their love life or domestic life. And it is the Aham poetry that Andal takes inspiration from. But there is a big difference between her poetry and those of the Sangam poets. The Aham poems from the Sangam era were about love among humans, whereas Andal's object of adulation or the object of her love was the divine. In one of her verses, she declares that if she is ever forced to marry a human, a mere mortal, she would give up her life. She imagines offering her body to a human as revolting as letting wild, wicked wolves feast on the sacrificial offerings made to the gods in heavens. That was the magnitude of her love for the divine, which made her forcefully reject a relationship with a human. What makes Andal's composition, well, not just Andal's but all of the Alvar compositions extremely important is that the Alvars were the pioneers of Bhakti literature in the Indian subcontinent. Historians believe that the Bhakti tradition was born in ancient Tamilagam, for which the Alvar Pasurams are proof. The tradition later gathered momentum in other parts of South India and eventually spread to northern India. So, unlike what many people believe, Andal was here nearly 1,000 years before Meera. So, Andal is not the South Indian Meera, but Meera is the North Indian Andal. Okay, but how do we understand expressions of passionate carnal love in Andal's composition? That brings us to the next of Andal's works, Nachiyar Tirumozhi. Now, Nachiyar Tirumozhi is a composition that's very different from Thiruppavai. The work is composed of 143 verses divided into 11 parts. While the central mood of Thiruppavai is devotional, in Nachiyar Tirumozhi the central mood is Viraha Bhakti or the mood of desperate longing and desire for a physical union with the divine. What makes Nachiyar Tirumozhi interesting is that it's among the earliest such works that express a human's sexual desires towards a divine entity. One of the most well-known examples of Madhurya Bhakti, as it is called, is Jayadeva's Gita Govinda, that is centered around the love of Radha and Krishna. But Andal's Nachiyar Tirumozhi probably sowed the seeds for Gita Govinda that was composed much later. Now, in several patriarchal religions of the world, such kind of devotion, Madhurya Bhakti, is unthinkable. So, how do we understand Andal's erotic desires? Well, great Vaishnavite scholars interpret the desires of Andal as that of a mortal's or a Jivatma's desires to become one with the divine or the Paramatma. That's one way of understanding Andal's love and desire. Many modern scholars, however, view Andal as a mystic. For a mystic, in his or her crazy search for the divine, the difference between body and mind disappears. They lose all sense of the physical realm and are single-mindedly focused in their quest for the divine. One such poet who was crazily in love with the god Shiva was Akka Mahadevi. She is believed to have composed several poems in Kannada in praise of her lord and lover Shiva. It is believed that Akka Mahadevi always roamed around in the nude with only her hair to cover her body. Both Andal, who was unmarried, and Akka Mahadevi, who was married, rejected the idea of a marriage to a human and sought a divine spouse with whom they desired a physical relationship. And it's not just women, men too, including several Alvars who came before Andal. They too had imagined themselves as women and adopted the Nayaki Nayaka Bhava in seeking the love of the divine. As the renowned scholar A.K. Ramanujam says, before God, every man is female. And more so in Vaishnava Bhakti, where Lord Vishnu is seen as the only Purusha or the cosmic man. But the idea of Madhurya Bhakti as seen in the Alvar poetry is heavily influenced by Sangam poetry, as I had mentioned earlier. There are several love poems from Sangam literature that express unrequited love and longing expressed by a male poet who takes on a female persona and sings in her voice. So the format of Andal's poetry was already well established in the Sangam age. Moreover, the Alvars, including Andal, also borrow several motifs and metaphors found in the Sangam poems to express their longing and yearning for their lovers. What the Alvars do is simply transpose the human emotions onto the divine plane. But what results is unrequited love or one-sided love. Andal's Nachiyar Tirumozhi ends abruptly with no mention of Andal having attained the divine. The story of her desire having been fulfilled is conspicuously absent in her composition. And this is where mythology steps in to complete the story. As we have seen in her story, Andal eventually does become one with the divine and even becomes his consort. As A.K. Ramanujan says, in Bhakti, passion is a sacred sentiment, as the object of passion is the Creator himself. Whether or not one wants to accept the research or the reasons, it cannot be denied that Andal and the other Alvars have left us with some great poetry that resonate with a rich expression of emotions, emotions that we humans can totally identify with. And by establishing an emotional connect with the divine, Andal's poetry brought the God closer to man. Of course, there are many more dimensions left to be explored in Andal and her poetry. Let's keep that for some other time maybe. So meet you all again in the new year. Till then, it's Tada Bye Bye, take care, and wishes to you for a safer, healthier and prosperous year ahead.